Tonight is the review 48 hours later when the emotion has had time to settle and we can look at this properly. Manchester United beat Aston Villa 3-1. And in my eyes, this wasn't the biggest, this was the biggest win of the season so far. Not just because of the result, but because of the timing. And tonight is going to prove that timing and why. The pressure around the team and what it could mean going into the final run of games. Bruno Fernandes, for me, was the standout again. And I gave him a 9 out of 10, which, if you watch enough of these shows, I feel he should have always been getting, but has always been dropping below this season. But this was also about the response, the mentality, and which players actually stepped up when it really mattered. So, before we get into the full review, guys, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, drop a like on the show, and get involved in the chat. United Lens is all about honest Manchester United opinion, no agendas, no nonsense. You know, everything your say, your way. So, join the chat, guys, and let's get going. Right, let's start with the big question. Was this actually United's biggest win of the season? I believe so. And I'm going to tell you why. Why this was the biggest win of the season is all about timing. Football is all about timing. There is the most important thing we can do is turn up when we have to. And I felt on Sunday it was another opportunity. We've seen them go past us this season where we step up a place, pull away from someone. And I hate to use the term, but we bottled it a few times. We can look back all around Christmas where we could have moved into fourth. We could have put pressure on, in fifth. And we've slowly, under Carrick, taken those steps. And we're not going to lie about it. Mentality-wise, we seem to be a bit stronger. But the importance of this was about the games and the upcoming games. Obviously, we play Bournemouth Friday night. Then we don't play for 30-something days, okay? So we have to take the points when they're available at a must. And although it's horrible to say we need to take every game as it comes, that's fine. But we put pressure on everyone else. And now, as of tonight, as of 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, we will only get top four spaces unless something drastic happens in the European competitions with the Conference League, Europa League and Champions League. If we get winners in all of them, maybe we get 5. But with City absolutely bottling it against Real Madrid, Hala Madrid. If Chelsea can't put a decent result against PSG, winning in France isn't for everyone. 3-1 to us, Rashford. And coming back, that drops our coefficients. Liverpool go out tomorrow night when they lose to Galatasaray. We're going to have Tottenham going out tomorrow night. That's more coefficients points we're going to drop. So that win on Sunday is why I said it was the biggest game of the season. It wasn't just because it was third v fourth, same points, can we get 3 points away from them? It's the fact we were going to need to finish top 4 because of the Champions League games going on. We're still slightly ahead in coefficients. And now it will be about what teams go through in the other European competitions. And that's where it's going to get dangerous. Very dangerous for United very fast. But, this is a review show. We're not going to talk about how City are shit in Champions League this season and that basically Arsenal is our only hope. We are going to talk about what we did against, I was going to say normally a very good Villa side, but they didn't turn up at all, did they? So it was almost like a repeat of the last game of the season where Martinez got sent off. The only thing of difference this season was he managed to stay on the pitch. For me, this was the bigger than just beating Villa. This was about the moment United were in. The pressure after recent performances, the Newcastle game, West Ham, Fulham, where we seemed like we were not falling off a cliff, but in a slight decline in chance creation and things like that. So we're going to get into all of that. But before I do, let's just say hi to Danny in the chat. good to see you. Oh, we've got Sean. Big up, Sean. Oh, come on, she'll still be fine. It's in tatters, Sean. If I'm honest, we could still get 5, but really now we've got to look at it at 4, because if Arsenal go out and don't win the Champions League, which is the biggest amount of points we can get, Palace look like they won't make it through Conference League. Forest will probably go out of the Europa League, leaving just Palace, I suppose. Palace to go through. And Palace, I don't think will get through either. So we are going to drop points potentially by the end of this week. And then it all depends on what teams make it through. If it's Italy or Spain, then we could be running it a bit close. But I know we were quite clear. And that's the advantage of having 5 teams in. But at least we all got qualified into the knockout stages. But yes, let's move back onto the game itself. Why I keep calling it the biggest win of the season, it wasn't just about the scoreline. It like I say, it was all about the timing. And this is the first time I actually felt that we took full advantage of that timing. Chelsea played before us, dropped points. Liverpool were playing after us, so we could put the pressure on them. They've gone and dropped points, so it obviously worked. And now, well, let's get it up. I've not like that, guys. Don't get overexcited. I have the league table and the next games right here. And let's get it on the screen. And let's talk about it. Right. So as you can see, this is how we stand now. Arsenal pretty much one hand on the cup, with City dropping points, 9 points clear of City. City are technically only 6 points behind. Let's be aware of that, because we all have a game in hand on Arsenal, which will be, ours is Bournemouth on Friday, and everyone else must be playing as well. If I am to believe this and it's correct, then maybe City are playing Chelsea, but haven't looked at all the games for the week. I am on that now. Do Arsenal not? Oh no, Arsenal and City won't play this weekend, will they? Because it's the thingy final. Yeah, that's right. But Villa, West Ham. So I'm expecting Villa to drop more points. Liverpool, Brighton. You never know what you're going to get with Liverpool or Brighton this season. And Chelsea go to a very stubborn Everton, who have been upsetting people. So again, timing. It's all about who you get and when you get them. So Bournemouth, hit and miss this season. I think that's honest to say. But let me know, guys, what do you think about Friday night? Because for me, the timing was we need to put on the pressure. We can get 3 points away. You want to look at it. We are only 7 points behind City now. So let's keep pushing on that. Can City drop points against Chelsea? Potentially. Is that another 2 points we make up on them? Maybe a draw. Maybe it's 3 points. And Chelsea leapfrog Liverpool. It's all going to be weird and wonderful as and when it happens. But we have to look at this. We have to look at things like goal difference. When was the last time we saw a goal difference of plus 13 as Man United fans? It feels like almost a decade ago. We've been sitting around the -1s, +1s for way, way too long. Yeah, I think Danny comes in and says he thinks we do Bournemouth. And so do I. But we've got a Bournemouth preview coming up tomorrow night. So join me for that. That'll go out about 9 o'clock. Oh, no, hang on. Probably 10 o'clock, because we've got the other Champions League matches, which I'll put it out after them. And then we'll know exactly where we are going into that, final, 8 games we got left now. But yesterday's game was so important for Manchester United and everyone else. But the main reason was it was about response. It was about mentality. I go on a lot about Man United, and I feel that a lot of the players have a weak mentality. Let's swap us over here. We'll keep the table on so everyone can still see it as we refer to it throughout the show. Losing to Newcastle, losing again to 10 men. You could see how pissed off, let's just call it as it is, pissed off Michael Carrick was with that loss. Some of the players really didn't turn up on that night. And let's be honest, when we've had to play 2 games in a week, we haven't turned up. And that is my fear about Friday. Although it's almost 1 week apart, we quite regularly play Saturday, Sunday, you know, but so it's not like playing within 3 days. They should be able to do recovery, training and back in. You're just playing 1 day earlier. And you could even train that morning and do video if you wanted. Or you can do it while traveling. So it is about that. It is about it being an away game. It's one of the furthest United have to go on, all the way down to Bournemouth. And then they all shoot off for international. Well, those who actually are playing. But to actually come back and put that kind of performance on, I thought in the first half we were very, I'm thinking of the right word here, methodical. I would say we were sort of methodical. We didn't create too much, and there wasn't too much drama within the first half. If anything, we probably, like myself, we were a little bit concerned about, were the players going to raise their game? Were they going to turn up second half? Are we just going to see another one where we were moving the ball a little bit slow in the first 20 minutes, then it seemed to kick on. It seemed to kick on with chances, and we had a couple of good efforts from outside the box. Interesting. I'll cover that in a minute. So yes, the kind of things we didn't really want to do, in the Newcastle game, we did really well. But if you saw my past couple of shows where I talked about pressing too high, Bruno leading the press, things like that, we were doing that for the first 3 or 4 times, and then I started noticing Bruno must have realised he was too far in front of Mbeumo, Cunha and Ahmad on that press, and he started to drop in, and he did sit in on as that third man, so they couldn't play straight through the middle. Everything we were calling for, let's stay compact, let's control the midfield, the centre of the park, and make them go wide. As soon as we started doing that, Onana didn't really bring anything to the game. And let's be fair, he normally bullies Man United's midfield. And, the Newcastle game, that's what happened. We got bullied. So what did we learn? Well, they put more energy in. They tracked back. We left open spaces so they could go 2v1. How are we going to correct that? Bruno, you're going to have to sit deep. And I felt that we did that. So please come in the chat. Have your say if that's how you saw the game. If any of you have had a chance to watch it back, like I have myself, you might have noticed these sort of little things where the wingers stayed a lot wider. Cunha for me had his best game under Michael Carrick. I thought he stayed wide. He drove into the spaces, but he didn't drive diagonal. He drove down the line, and you can see that's where he came in from his run. Okay, it was an underlapping run for his goal, but he ran in straight lines. Where he was to where he came back to, he just went in straight lines, which is the most important thing if you're going to rotate as a front three. So, yeah, the response to the Newcastle game was highly anticipated. Probably the biggest fear. Were United going to shrink or were they going to grow, stand up and say, no, we're here, we're going to go into third today. We are going to put 1 foot in the Champions League places, and we're going to put it in our hands to see if we get there. And for me, on the night, I think every man and his dog turned up, even Diego Dallo, who was probably the second biggest shock to be starting. But we can't criticise Carrick. He got it right. We won. Obviously the biggest shock was Sesko not starting. I thought that was a little bit harsh. But again, we won. It seemed to work. Sesko comes off the bench, bags another one from the bench. Ole Gunnar Sesko. It is what it is. But the main talking point, and like I've had to say the last couple of shows, this is where you get the proof that I'm not a Bruno hater. The facts are, when Bruno does what Bruno does, and he does it well, it talks for itself. And that's why we criticise it when he doesn't. Bruno Fernandes, solid 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, easy for me all day long. Um, he was he wasn't everywhere. That's probably the biggest compliment I can give him. He wasn't a headless chicken. He was methodical. He was picking up the pockets of space, running behind the defender and then dropping wide. So he didn't. So the defender has to almost do a 360 where he's seen where he's run. By that time, it's too late. He's picked the ball up and he's playing it, which is a prime example of Cunha's goal. You know, set piece wise, we know he can deliver to the front post. Can he deliver to the back post? I'm a little bit dubious, but front post, you know, Bruno seems to be able to put it in there. Very nice, bangs, front man. Casemiro's header, 1-0, and you know, the guy's giving it this. That says it all. When you can take the biggest meme from 2025 and turn it into your goal celebration, score 7 goals, his biggest return in the Premier League for Manchester United. And all I hope he just does an interview with someone and just sort of just does the quote to, oh, well, you know, when Jamie Carragher tells me that football has left me, it inspired me to prove that it has not, you know, 6, 7. And it just gives something like that. You can just see these interviews in my head. And like, I can just imagine, press writer, get me the job now. I'll give him all the big quotes. But the joke and the laughing that these guys have got, Bruno said it himself. He told him, I'm going to make the run here. You put the ball here and I'll score. Bang. There you go. Gets on it. How many times have we seen Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro? I think it's 7 goals, 5 assisted by Bruno from set pieces. And Casemiro's not one of, well, I think he's actually one of the shortest on the pitch. Kobe Mainoo might be shorter than him and Ahmad. That's about it. Or maybe Mbumo now, actually, he's quite short as well. But those kind of things, when you have a ball player like that, that's all we ever ask. And from set pieces, you know, we've probably lacked over the last few years. Remember, we went almost a season without scoring from a corner, for God's sake. Now we're scoring from loads. So whoever under Eric Ten Hag's first season was doing those set pieces must be looking at this and going, oh, what, you just cross it in the box and someone heads it in? Because that's all it seems that we do. Just make your run to a set place and I'll put the ball there. But yeah, I'm babbling, guys. Bruno Fernandes, I thought was absolutely unreal. And it was the simple things he did. The 5-yard passing on Sunday was superb. And that's normally where he lets us down, where he cushions the ball too soft and it doesn't quite reach the intended target. He stroked through it, didn't overhit it, didn't drill it. Wasn't really having a go at anyone because everyone's obviously was holding their position. Things like that just make such a big difference for leadership. You know, when everyone's doing their job, he doesn't need to focus on you. He can focus on his own. And I felt Sunday he absolutely did and gave, like I say, a 9 out of 10 solid captain's performance. I'm not even sure. I think the only way he was getting a 10 is if he scored himself, you know, at the end of the day, or that. He now has the top all-time assists in a Premier League season, beating David Beckham now with 16. He's 4 off the all-time records for the Premier League. So he needs 4 assists in 8 games, and I'm pretty sure he will get them. And the guy, if you've seen the picture put up by Jamie Carragher where he's in a league of his own on Monday Night Football, or if you've seen it on social media where him and Thierry Henry are going through this, like basically the graph is roughly stops here on my neck, and Bruno Fernandes is up here on the graph, and it's going from, you know, this side up. It's just ridiculous that no one is even in the ballpark near him. And we already knew he was eclipsing Kevin De Bruyne when De Bruyne was in his prime. So, you know, hats off to him. But did United change anything Sunday? Did you guys see anything that he changed? Because for me, Dalot was making those ridiculous striker runs, and if he could shoot, he could have had a hatful. He got into the one from Bruno, that would have been another assist, takes it down beautifully on the thigh, onto his left foot, and then just obviously saw one of the leaks in the sky and was like, I'm just going to put it up there, because all he has to do is pass it into the net. And no, he's put it into, well, whatever's higher than Rose said. We got enough leaks in the roof. You know, we don't need the ball hitting it as well. But then he had another one, Dalot, where it's clipped over the top. All he's got to do is nod it over the keeper, takes his eye off the ball, hits his shoulder, and Martinez just jumps back and takes a simple catch. So I did notice that he was pushing Dalot further and further forward, which is maybe something that Mazraoui wouldn't normally do. Mazraoui's normally there with Ahmad doing the overlaps. So was that a tactical tweak where Carrick saw something that he could expose? And just sort of, we knew they would only leave Ollie Watkins up front on his own, who, let's be fair, he might not as well have been on the pitch. He was that bad. And I know a lot of us were looking at Watkins in the summer before Sesko. But this guy blows so hot and cold. It's one of the main reasons that I thought Watkins was a massive no-go for Man United, because we're worried about Sesko having his first season and blowing hot and cold. Well, Watkins has been how many seasons in the Premier League now? And he can't guarantee 15 goals a season? Not for me. Midfield-wise, Casemiro, Kobe absolutely stole the show. Working with each other, and I think what Kobe Mainoo has done in his discipline is what's given Casemiro the run that he's getting. Don't forget, guys, after this, there being the end credits, you'll be able to go link yourself to the player rating show I done straight afterwards. Highly emotional, you know, the most honest points you'll get, shall we say. But 7s, 8s, and then obviously I've given the game away. Bruno Fernandes, man of the match, 9. But everyone else, just have your honest say on there. If you think I've been harsh or too critical, I think I gave the entire back line 6s. And you can see why if you go watch that. But like I say, there's plenty of you been watching live on here and on X. Don't forget, guys, give it a good thumbs up. We're not there yet with the double figures. So if we can get us to double figures with the thumbs up, and hit the subscribe if it's your first time here. Tactically, what I thought we got right against Villa was the runs in behind, pinning back their makeshift left and right backs. I'm going to call them makeshift because the way they play out of position. You know, there was no Matty Cash picked up a knock midweek, and we just kept running in behind him. I thought Cunha literally had their right back on toast, and Ahmad, I thought Ahmad done everything you would ask of a player who had been dropped. Come back in, do your thing, keep driving, and, you know, just keep getting the ball. Sean says, if you do like and subscribe, Liam Neeson will find you. If you don't like and subscribe, sorry. Messed that up big time there, Sean. Yeah, Ahmad, the way he stepped back in and just done the most simplest things. I still want to see him drive into that byline more and trying to beat the player on the byline inside the 18 box. So although he's staying wide, as soon as he hits the 18, he's got to come in at a little bit more of a sort of 45-degree angle so he can get to the byline / corner of the 18. So if you go down there, it's a guaranteed penalty or corner. But I thought he drove in well. Cunha is driving, pretty much done exactly what I just said for the Sesko goal. Pick the ball up, where the angle he comes in at, cuts it back. And if you do get the cut back, and then Sesko, Jesus Christ, jumps over a player, spins, slams it, and that's what you do. That is a killer instinct that I've said this guy needs to develop. He's proving me wrong. I'm more than happy to admit he's proving me wrong. And whatever the boy's eating, whatever they're telling him to do, please, Michael Carrick, please continue. Because he's got so much potential with his left, right foot and heading ability. You know, there is a lot inside that lad. And, you know, Ole Gunnar Sesko, if he needs to be that for the rest of this season, that's fine. But next season, he needs to be starting. And we need to find a way to fit all of these players in. And if we can't play 5 up front, then I don't know what we're going to do. But you sort of get my point. For me, going forward, and this is the key thing tonight, guys, what are we going to do going forward? Because Bournemouth play totally different to Newcastle and totally different to, obviously, the game we had on Sunday against Villa. Bournemouth are more pragmatic. They're more sit back, defend again, which we're going to be back against low, mid and low blocks. But they do like to knock the ball around. And when they do get it forward, they like to drive in behind carrying the ball. I don't know if Leach is going to be back. I feel like he should be. You know, what are your guys' takes on that now? Leach was meant to only just had a tight calf, why he missed the game, and now how many days has he been out? 20 something days. For me, that's way too many again for him. No one's actually said what calf it was, what leg it was, so we can't tie it to a knee injury. But for myself, I've always suffered with calf muscular injuries, whether it be the lower or upper part of the calf or Achilles after my ACL reconstruction, because it just pulls. It just pulls slightly at an angle when you've had it things. It's never going to be perfect, and it could just be something as simple as that. But he's feeling it tight, and if I don't get it right, obviously it's going to pull on multiple muscles and cause later problems with hamstrings or thighs as well. So I'm hoping that might be why the medical department are keeping hold of him. I can only use my own experiences in that sort of area, and I know plenty of other footballers who have had very similar problems coming back from ACLs with calves and Achilles. So we'll have to wait and see. But I thought Leny Yoro was his best game in a shirt for United this season anyway. I'm still not entirely sure about that tackle in the first half on Ollie Watkins, where he literally just slides in, but he seems to control the ball with his belly button more than his foot. He goes a little bit too hard, too fast. But you know what? He stopped the ball and gets up, flicks it away, and we get a counter out of it. And if you haven't seen his interview, I think he even refers to it as an amazing tackle he pulls out himself, or words to that effect, which I thought was hilarious because the person interviewing him wasn't even talking about that. They were talking about something else. But I thought his blocks, his communication, obviously we all know Harry Maguire is someone that these young players should be playing alongside that can coach them through a game, and they just need to listen, stay grounded, and just do as you're told and do the simple things. But then on the flip side, you've got Diego Dallo on the other side, who does leave you very exposed from time to time and probably doesn't communicate. So yes, that's what I thought I see us going forward now is, what are we going to do from the mid-block? Can Leny, Yoro and Maguire play those penetrating passes so we can push higher? I believe Maguire can. I think Leny Yoro is great at playing crossfield passes. But I said in the last couple, this is why I feel Aidan Heaven should be played, because I feel he can play the penetrating pass. But, you know, if Carrick doesn't deem him worthy at the moment of a start and he thinks Yoro's putting more in, great. You know, fighting for places. Go out there, get on a training pitch, say, no, boss, put me in. I'll show you what I can. Give me that ball, I'll show. I've seen like clips all week about different training drills, 2v2 drills, passing, switching, moving the ball quicker. So we know that we're obviously working on breaking down the low block, the penetrating passes. I feel that maybe, you know, as a little insight into the Bournemouth game, maybe Sesko and Xerxes should both be up top against Bournemouth. Have a little think about that one. Come back to me in the comments after this show and think, Mark, you're absolutely nuts. There's no way he's going to play Sesko and Xerxes up front. But just think what we could add with two strikers up front and some wide players. And just keep rotating Cunha, Ahmad and Bumo. And possibly even Dorgu, guys. Just remember that. Dorgu might even be that taking Tyler Fletcher off the bench, and Dorgu could be back on Friday. So we could be back to a full first team squad, including subs. But, you know, that's pretty much how I see us going forward. I don't think our front line needs to change how we do things, but we need more goals like Cunha's. That second man run, third man runs, where someone runs offside, drops the defender. Maybe a second person goes offside and then we switch the play. Or we get more goals like Cunha coming from deeper and picking it up. Because then that just makes Bruno more unpredictable. Because at the moment, we know Bruno drags out to the right, tries crossing the ball in. We know Bruno will try a little clip pass over towards the back post to be headed back across. We are very predictable. He's very good at doing those balls, and sometimes that's why he doesn't get pressed. If he can start dropping back into these void spaces on, in between what they call the half space, but more like off the shoulder in a wider area, especially out to the left and not so much out to the right. It'll be very interesting to see how we do move forward. I know a lot of people obviously been focusing on the Champions League tonight, so I can understand the chat not being as busy. It has been a long one. Like I say, I am back tomorrow night with a preview show for the Bournemouth game, because I will be with my under-18s Thursday night, and then obviously the game Friday. Friday night, watch the game straight after here. If you want to join me, that's fine, but please give it a watch. There'll be a rating show. It's just 15-20 minutes after every live game, guys. We'll do the player ratings. Tell me what you think, and we'll just run through it. I am trying to sort out some graphics up the side, but it is going absolutely Pete Tong. So I might just break it down to a very crude sort of face and score until I get the software sorted out. But as for now, I would say we'll just call that a night, guys. It's been half an hour. It was a great game. Obviously, when we win, there's a lot less to talk about. I could go into every single goal. How Sesko came on, what he did right. Again, proving that he should start. We've talked about Cunha's goal and we talked about Casemiro's. So the only thing left to talk about is Bournemouth. So join me tomorrow night at same time, 10 o'clock, and we'll do that. But for me now, guys, good night.